of a large container subject to random search by the police.
Have you ever been on the train and heard this announcement and wondered, is this really legal? The answer is yes and no, but we will get to that in a minute. First, we need to get to the Fourth Amendment. It all begins here. In the 1600s, England implemented a series of taxes on certain goods. As a result, colonists smuggled goods into their homes and property. In response, King Charles II implemented the usage of writs of assistance, which basically served as general search warrants that did not expire. Customs officials were allowed to search anywhere for smuggled goods, including people's homes, without any notice or reason. The colonists were outraged by this invasion of privacy. Our founding fathers understood how important it was to protect the people of the United States from unwarranted searches and seizures. They believed that freedom from government intrusion was a natural right and fundamental to liberty. The Fourth Amendment states that no one can search or take your person, house, papers, or belongings unless they can prove that they have a good reason to, usually in the form of a warrant given by a judge.
I used to say when I was in office as Secretary of Homeland Security that the essence of what we do in national security is to preserve and protect Americans' physical security, but we also have a role in preserving and protecting civil liberties, the freedoms that Americans enjoy, and that those in national security have an obligation to preserve one as much as the other.
9/11, the event that shook the world, one of the biggest attacks that occurred on U.S. soil. As a direct response to terrorism, the government implemented a heightened level of security and surveillance. 2 months after the attacks, the Transportation Security Administration, also known as TSA, was created with the mission to protect the country's transportation systems and the people's freedom of movement.
TSA must focus on continuous security improvement across all transportation modes. And there is a simple and profoundly sobering reason why. The threat is real.
9/11 will not happen again.
Before 9/11, only 5% of checked bags were screened before boarding planes, but today all bags are screened for weapons and destructive items. Not only were security measures implemented on a national level, New York City also implemented a few security measures of their own. New York City has the largest subway system in North America, with an average of 1.4 billion riders. The city needed to incorporate a set of strategies that would enforce safety and surveillance. One of these ways was through random bag searches in train stations. Police would set up tables inside stations, randomly pick potential passengers, and ask them to search their belongings. In 2005, the New York Civil Liberties Union sued the city over the random bag searches in the subway, claiming the searches are unprecedented, unlawful, ineffective, and unlikely to deter terrorist activity, and a violation of the Fourth Amendment rights. And that although NYPD claims that these searches are random, the large and hard to control traffic creates a potential for racial profiling. New York City has had its fair share of issues when it comes to searches and seizures. For a long period of time, New Yorkers advocated to end the police practice of stop and frisk, which allowed officers to temporarily detain, question, and search civilians and suspects on the street. Responding to the protests and backlash in 2013, a federal judge ruled that the NYPD's stop and frisk tactics were unconstitutional. While stop and frisk was deemed unconstitutional, the random bag searches in NYC subway stations were ruled to be constitutional and effective in deterring terrorism, and that improving the safety of all the people was worth its minimal invasion of privacy.
In normal times, we become concerned when we see law enforcement seemingly randomly searching bags. If there's an attack, if there's a bomb that explodes in someone's backpack, we're prepared to accept searches. Even in a time of crisis, even in a time of fear and anxiety, you can't go beyond the parameters of what the law says.
Now, let's get back to the question of, can police stop you to inspect your bags? The police can stop you. You are allowed to decline, but you'd have to leave the station. When interacting with the police, try to remain calm and respectful. You don't want to escalate a situation that doesn't need to be. Before you move on from this video, I would like to encourage you to learn more about your rights. Here are some resources that would be helpful to have on your journey. Educate yourself on your rights. And remember, knowledge is power.